BLUELOCK chapter 352 has just released. Buratsuta crashes out on Ego after the loss against France. We get updates on Nagi, and Side-B, as well as being introduced to a new character right before the England match. To say that this was one of the most hyped chapters of BLUELOCK would be an understatement. So many things were revealed here. This is one of those chapters where I don't even want to waste time on the intro, so let's jump into it quick. The chapter begins with us getting flashbanged by Buratsuta's chopped face. One page in, and my day is already ruined seeing this guy. And he is crashing out, veins popping, eyes bulging, screaming at the top of his lungs, telling Ego if they lose, it's all over. Does he got that? He reminds Ego that he's running his Side-B project behind the scene and poured a fortune into all of this. If they lose again and don't make it into the knockouts, then all of it will go to waste. Yes, we already know this. The grass is green. Buratsuta is like that one homie who just keeps repeating himself, man. Sometimes you just gotta tell them to shut up. And we see Ego do exactly that, standing on business, telling Buratsuta to pipe down. None of this is unexpected, as we see the man of the hour fixing his tie, bro pretty much emoting on him, which successfully rage baits Buratsuta, who just says, huh. Ego then clarifies after fighting Nigeria and France, they have 1 win and 1 loss. Considering Japan's abilities, this is a perfectly natural outcome. So I guess it was in Ego's plan that they would naturally lose the France game? What the hell kind of face is Buratsuta making, as he tells Ego that if he doesn't win, he'll be banned from Japanese football. And Ego says his plan hasn't failed. He was hired to get Japan a World Cup victory. Wasn't contracted to make money. Buratsuta then scoffs at him, saying his contract stipulates that Itoshi Sai can't join until he wins the group league, and he won't let him use the Side-B winners until the knockouts. So that officially throws the Nagi joining mid-England game theory out the window. Ego then continues to cook Buratsuta, telling him to shut up, you money-grabbing Tanuki, and that this is the gamble he started. As he continues to fix his tie, I don't even know, at this point just use a clip-on. He then walks away saying he just has to win, right? With Buratsuta then getting a notification on his phone, deviously smiling and laughing, saying he talks big. This isn't only his gamble though. And what kind of scheme is Buratsuta planning again? This guy is always up to no good, and him smiling while looking at something on his phone makes me believe some plot twist is coming soon. But all of a sudden, we jump over to the Side-B first stage waiting room, where Shindo and Kira are shown both grabbing some drinks from the drink bar, with Shindo pointing out that they just need to wait for the other victors, and Kira thanking Shindo for picking him. Shindo then says there are no absolutes in this world. When did bro turn into Shakespeare? I don't know, but he clarifies that he was the best choice to boost his odds of winning, with Kira saying he's a clever one. Out of nowhere though, that's when Nagi and Shigeo walk through the door, with Shigeo raising his hands in excitement, celebrating, saying all right. Yeah, baby, the return of the lazy genius and Japan's last hope duo, as they dap each other up, with Shigeo saying if they beat it, he's gonna represent Japan. We, yes, you and me want to see Shigeo on the national team. He will be Japan's savior. He deserves the nickname of the chosen one. Nagi, with his face still bleeding though, says, right, Shigeo. But before that, asking Kira if there are any bandages since his nosebleed is rough, with Kira handing him the first aid kit and Shindo, the perpetrator, whistling in the back. He then points at Nagi, saying that he knew he would pass. He's not the type of person that would get stopped here, a dangerous guy. Clearly, his read of him was spot on. Yeah, people will say anything to glaze themselves, I won't lie. Shigeo offers to put the bandage on for Nagi, another W wholesome Shigeo moment, up there with him saving my grandma from a burning house. And as Nagi accepts the offer, he tells Shindo to shut up and that he hates the way he talks like he knows everything. And yes, tell him, bro, I'm not even a Nagi fan, but Kaneshiro did a damn good job at making Shindo the villain. We will be hate-watching and preying on his downfall. Shindo laughs though, apologizing and saying that the bandage actually suits him. The rugged look works really well for him. As Shigeo gives a compliment to his verbalization but saying he's annoying, the door behind him opens up with the announcement that the BLUELOCK Side-B first stage birdcage has ended. From Team 1, the 6 clears have been determined, as Hajime Nishioka is shown celebrating, qualifying, and the other player is a Washington cut. Nah, how did he make it? You are not on the team, dog! Wasn't he getting cornered and used as a stool? Last time we saw bro, Nagi's foot reorganized his face. I guess I wasn't familiar player with your game. But that also means COVID Rin and friends are eliminated, y'all, as we see the announcement of the 6 players who qualified. Shindo Hanaru, Kira Ryosuke, Shigeo Mizuki, Nagi Seishiro, Hajime Nishioka, and Ringo Pandemizu, which I guess he's finally named, but can we collectively still call him Washington Cut? The next page, though, the announcer says the 6 names listed above will advance to the second stage, with Shindo saying on to the next one, Kira says win crush, and Nagi says alright, moving on, as the door opens to the second stage. But like always, we're left on a cliffhanger for Side B as we jump over to the Japan training field where we see Corona, Raichi, Chigiri, and I think that's Nico. I honestly can't tell from this distance. Low-key, Side B was getting interesting and Kaneshiro just loves to leave us on a cliffhanger, but trust me y'all when I say we're about to see something even more insane. Aiku tells everyone it's break time, with Atoya drinking some water, handing one to Aryu, with Bachara barking like a dog and saying to give one to him too, which is the least random thing Bachara has done if we're being honest. More importantly though, Karasu asked the others to be honest. What did they think of Ego's speech? With Bachara saying it felt like typical Ego, and Nico saying, yeah, it's a good reminder that he's out of his mind. Everyone is gathered around the campfire as Chigiri responds saying he hears them. A team where everyone is trying to be the world's best striker doesn't make sense when they think about it, with all of them making that realization. Karasu says, right, if they use common sense, this team is a walking contradiction, so it's kind of miraculous that they got this strong and made it so far. Now this is interesting because Karasu isn't wrong, but Ego literally acknowledges this, saying common sense isn't how they'll win, and I feel like Karasu is really giving the Ego philosophy zero credit too, saying it's a miracle. Again, I do agree they need to figure something out, and even Isagi said Ego's philosophy isn't enough for him anymore, but all this dialogue will be super important for the players' mindsets going into the England game. Aiku then points out that they couldn't beat the Kings France, and that's the reality, saying that's why now it's time for them to figure out for themselves what Blue Lock actually is. Hiyori jumps in saying that's a good idea. Do you think they trusted Ego too much? Corona says yeah, he respects him for getting them this far, but he's still a crazy nerd freak. Damn, Corona! Aiku responds saying rather than seeing him as an unerring leader, they should keep him at arm's length as a dangerous guy, who teaches them dangerous yet fascinating things. Karasu then agrees, saying now that they lost and have a moment to stop, it might be time to go back to square one and ask themselves, what sort of world's best dreams are their egos chasing here in Blue Lock? And this is very interesting, y'all. Looks like the Blue Lockers are returning to their beginnings, which I'm on board for, especially because I feel like this means Kunigami development. I don't know if this sounds like a tinfoil hat theory, but if they're talking about returning to their origin, Kunigami returning to his original ego, the hero comes back with the Egoist 4, I would be elated to see that. But all of a sudden, someone appears behind Corona and speaks up. Where did bro even come from? Who is this random guy and how is he here? He then raises his hand and says he has a request for Blue Lock. Do they suppose they could lose the next match? Which got Corona and Chigiri confused, with Raichi asking who the hell he is. Raichi asking the right questions, dog. That's when the mysterious guy says, pardon me, saying he's a worthless bungler player for your next opponent, England. His name is Teddy Knight, it is. Holy hell, that might just be the most proper English in this whole manga. I love people from England, bro. This match will be cinema. But here we go, folks. We already getting an introduction to an England player. I'm not gonna lie, he was aura farming hard on the Blue Lockers just to say his name was the most cuddly thing ever. He trying his best to look vicious. What is up with these ridiculous names though? A Bunny and then a Teddy? What's next? Captain Magma? I won't lie, having Knight as your last name though is so tough. Like imagine someone calling you Mr. Knight. His design is also very interesting to say the least. Like is it just me or he doesn't look like a Blue Lock character? Maybe I gotta let it grow on me a bit. Jumping back to it, Nanase is confused saying a worthless bungler. Bachara laughs saying what's up with this guy? And Teddy just says okay, he's counting on them to throw the match, with Ananase panicking saying they never agreed to it. Aiku then puts his hand on his shoulder and says he's a funny guy, but they can't honor that request. He doesn't know what kind of scheme he had in mind when he came here to say that, as they got a lot riding on this too. Yeah, Aiku speaking facts here. I won't lie, it's kind of funny he somehow infiltrated our training area, asked them to lose, and then try to leave right after. Teddy then becomes disappointed saying they can't, and he sees, scratching his head wondering what to do, and that Fox told him to come here. What was he supposed to do if this happened? I guess Fox is another England player as well, so we should be paying attention to someone named Fox. Again, what is up with these names? It's not as random as Teddy, but why can't they just name these guys something normal, like Arthur? Teddy then looks down disappointed, saying, oh, that's right, he just remembered he needs to kill them all, as he sends the ball flying into Bachira's face. Yo, what the hell? What does he mean by kill them all? Where did that come from? Nah, we gotta pull up for Bachira too. Turn the room into a Fortnite free-for-all. Teddy gotta go, man. Raichi then says, huh? Nanase shocked as well, as Teddy says, if I make it clear that you can't beat me, will they give up and lose for them? As Aiku stands on business and says, what the hell did he do to our precious monster? And Teddy says, a violation. As Teddy dribbles past Aiku, got him with his hands out again, Ryu weaved on the quick, and Nico dodged. Oh, this can't be happening again. Our defenders are getting cooked outside of the game, especially Aiku, bro. You had 0 touches on the ball in the game, and you still can't get it outside of it. I've seen enough. Replace Aiku with a cone. It would do more. He tried to stand on business and failed miserably. I wouldn't wish this fate on anybody. Aiku gotta have a generational comeback in this match, or else it's over for him. And bro couldn't even finish his sentence as he says, don't gimme, and then does the most shocked expression I've ever seen in this manga, beating out Kuso, saying, what? Ryu points out how fast he is, and Nico says he's a dribbler, and Bachira holding his cheek says, what an egoist. After everything's all said and done though, Teddy stops himself and says, ego, he doesn't have an ego, which is very interesting as someone who has the exact opposite mindset of BLUELOCK. Teddy then says he is a puppet, a worthless puppet, as it's revealed he is England's new Generation 11, Teddy Knight. Oh my god, no wonder why he was cooking us. Another new gen has finally been revealed, and he is a wingback. Apparently though, the Japanese translations say winger, but the English translation says wingback, so I guess we'll get more confirmation later. I'm so hyped to see another new gen, dog. This is probably the best new gen introduction we've gotten, up there with Kaiser and Bunny. However, we don't know anything else about the egoless puppet and why he has no ego, as we'll find out soon with the chapter ending off here. I don't know how BLUELOCK is giving us this many amazing chapters back to back to back. There is so much to talk about here. Let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the teddy bear in the room. Get it? Smash subscribe if you get it. But yeah, this England new gen is definitely interesting. From his name to his dialogue to his design, I can only describe it as interesting. Like, where did the name Teddy even come from? But I have to admit, I loved his introduction, and I'm so glad in the first place he's even being shown before the game, a little bit of his skills and his position at least. We basically know a lot about his character before we actually play against them, and that will help so much with pacing. I had it in my wishlist video too. Pacing issues was apparent during the France game. Nigeria was just an introduction game, so I truly think this England game has the potential to be the best out of the group stage. And we just know he's gonna terrorize the wings, so I can't wait to see that. Now 7 out of the 11 new gens are revealed, and it will only be a short amount of time until we see the rest. It's not just the new gen reveal though. This chapter in general was so damn entertaining. Like, the pacing of the chapter was really good. We somehow fit a lot of content and it didn't seem rushed at all. Ego and Buratsuta had their talks, Side-B progress, a BLUELOCK talking about their philosophies, and of course Teddy's introduction. I gotta say, even without isagi or Rin or the main strikers, this was a crazy chapter, and they're definitely saving their interactions for when we play the game. Next chapter title is called Revolutionary Heretical Group. Now take that with a grain of salt because it may not be entirely accurate, but we should assume it's the rest of the England team's introduction. I feel like that's the only plausible answer for a title like that. We left off on Teddy as well, so it's either a confrontation with them outside of the game, or hell, we might be jumping straight into the game itself. Because the Nigeria game only had 4 chapters between the ending of it and the start of the France game, this is the 5th chapter between the ending of the France game and the start of the England game, so only a matter of time until we get it. I honestly do think the next chapter will be the game itself, all the formations revealed, so before that, check this video out on my perfect formation or starting 11 for the England game, as well as my goal predictions. And that about wraps it up for this video too. An amazing chapter that gets you so hyped for the next, so make sure to be here next week as well. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching as always. Leave your thoughts down below. What do you think of this chapter? What do you think of the new gen? I appreciate y'all so much, and I'll see y'all in the next one.